Duelist of the Iron Crown by Drakey C. Chapter 5. Familiar Faces. On the coffee table in Fluttershy's living room lay Twilight's deck, its cards spread out in front of her. Twilight sat hunched over on the sofa, looking between them. She spent much of last night reading every card's effect. An unmistakable pattern had emerged. Her eyes fell on the 6 monster cards in its center. No doubt about it. She reached out and picked up Harmony Spirit Magia. Its artwork showed an angelic fairy with a horn and pale lavender skin. These cards are based on me and my friends. But how? Twilight had searched the database on the cards on the internet for hers and found no record of them. The only conclusion was that the mirror portal's magic had manifested these cards for her when she crossed over. Guess it makes sense. First I said dueling was a way to reveal your true self. The bond my friends and I share is the most important thing I have. So, using cards based on them and their powers. Her brow furrowed as she looked over the card in her hand. Magia. Twilight recognized the names of the card as ancient Equestrian, a near-dead language only used in books so old they tended to need special permission to examine. Why her cards were manifest using those words, she wasn't sure, but she had to admit that ancient Equestrian had a certain elegance. And the card shows me as a unicorn, not an alicorn. Makes sense. I may be an alicorn, but I'm still a unicorn at heart. I don't know what my purpose as a princess is, but I'm still me, Twilight Sparkle. Twilight set the card back on the table. Twilight? Spike jumped up on the sofa beside her. What's up? Just thinking. Twilight spread her hand over the cards laid out. First I said a duelist deck symbolizes their true self, and my deck symbolizes me and my friends. Spike leaned over his cards. Seems so. But look at this card. Twilight tapped her finger on Magia. That's obviously meant to be me, as a unicorn, not an alicorn. Spike nodded. Makes sense. I mean, you were born a unicorn, right? True. Twilight furrowed a brow. But if a deck symbolizes a duelist's true self, what do you think that means deep down, that I'm still a unicorn, even with my wings? I say so, Spike looked up at her. You said you never once felt like being a princess, and you were worried about Celestia giving you all sorts of new duties and responsibilities. Right. Twilight bit her lip. Maybe Spike is right, and this is for the best. I really don't feel like a princess much. I just feel like me with some awkward wings attached. Spike was on the table now, carefully stepping over the cards as he looked them over. Yep, there's Fluttershy, Rainbow Dash, everybody's here. He turned to Twilight. Hey, if your deck that the portal made for you is based on you and your friends, what kind of deck would the portal have given Sunset Shimmer? Twilight jerked from her thoughts at the question and sat back on the sofa as he considered it. I'm not sure. She thought about what she knew of the other girl. She was Celestia's student, and her pride was self-evident through what Twilight had seen of her. But she had nothing else to go on. I really have no idea what she has in store for me. Unless I ask Celestia for more about her. She shook her head. Can't focus on that now. Have to keep the goal in mind. We'll deal her deck when and if we have to duel her. For now, we have to make sure at least we get to the top 16. Sunset Shimmer will definitely will, and we have to make sure we do too. From there, I guess it depends on how they match it up. Fluttershy had made it into the tournament, and Twilight intended to form an alliance with her friends, or potentially any other student that made record matches. Every friend we can make is another duelist we can rely on to hand over the crown if I can't win. No matter what Fluttershy said about their attitudes towards the tournament, if they know what's at stake, they soon listen to reason. I have to believe in them. Twilight stood up. They may not actually be my friends, but what I've seen, they're similar enough in personality. I have to hope that means I can convince them to help me. Twilight? She looked up to see Fluttershy poking her head through the doorway. Breakfast is ready, if you like. Sure. Twilight began to gather up her cards and set them back into her deck's box. Mom says she has errands to run anyway, so she's going to drive us to school. Twilight paled. Drive! Fluttershy nodded. We're leaving early, since Mom likes to drive a little slow. Where did you learn to drive, moron? Twilight narrowed her eyes ever so slightly at the comment. So familiar to the dozens of others she had heard over the past 20 minutes, came through her open window. Mrs. Syke huffed. Well, that was rather rude. Mom, you were driving slow. You were slowing down in the middle of the road. The light was turning red. I had to slow down to break in time. You were 30 feet away, and it was still green. It was going to turn yellow at any moment. I didn't want to risk it. Twilight leaning forward. Fluttershy, you will be driving us back home tonight. Yes. Thank you! The grounds of Carolina High were filled with students as Twilight, Spike, and Fluttershy stepped out of the car into the sidewalk. A couple close to them turned to look at the newcomers, and then turned their back to their previous tasks. Twilight looked around and saw no sign of any of her friends, or Sunset Shimmer. She has to compete in the tournament like normal, right? So she'll have to be here. Twilight wondered if Sunset would challenge her, but brushed the idea aside. She didn't recognize me yesterday. I doubt she will now. And me challenging her won't do much. She can still make the top 16 if I beat her. So I would if I she won. Was challenging Sunset at this early stage worth it to get a peek at her rival's deck? Twilight thought it over for a moment and shook her head. Seems to see mine too. And with my experience, I need every advantage I can take. The registration desk is in the front lobby. Fluttershy's price prompted Twilight to look towards her as the other girl led the way. Twilight followed, weaving through the crowd. She kept looking for her friends among the sea of faces but saw no sign of them. They'll be here. Well, maybe not Pinky, but Applejack and Rainbow Dash for sure. Twilight looked to the right and thought she saw a familiar head of rainbow-colored hair. Before she could get a better look, she walked into somebody and stumbled back. She heard someone else grunt and fall in front of her. Sorry! Twilight ran back and got to her feet. Sorry, didn't see. She looked up at who I walked into. We gotta stop meeting like this. Flash Sentry stood up in front of her. Hey, Twilight. Hi! Twilight looked at her head and waved. Here to register? Yep. Flash held up his arm with his dual disc. Expressed softened. No offense, but I'm a bit surprised to see you registered. You seemed a bit unprepared to duel yesterday. Twilight held up her hands and chuckled nervously. Well, first day, you know how it is. I'm a bit forgetful, but I'm here now. She forced a grin. Well, good luck. If you can do well in this tournament, it'll go a long way to make a good first person of everybody else. Flash smiled and held up a fist, thumb extended. Twilight pondered what the unfamiliar gesture meant, but didn't have much time to dwell on it. Next, please! The line moved forward. Twilight saw Flash reach the table in front of him. Twilight leaned around Flash and saw the woman typing on the computer, with long dark blue hair and blue pale skin. Princess Luna? Twilight's eyebrows lifted. Makes sense. Celestia is in this world, after all. Luna looked up at Flash. Name? Flash Sentry. Here's my deck, with the extra deck and side deck included. Flash held out his deck. Luna set the deck in some sort of machine that rapidly flipped through the cards. When it was done, Luna's computer beeped, and she went back to typing. Deck registration complete. From this moment forward, any users of cards not in the database will be grounded for immediate disqualification. Understood? Flash nodded. Luna picked up the deck and held it out. Here you are. Good luck. Flash stepped out of the way and looked to sort through his cards. Twilight took a deep breath and stepped up to the table. Twilight, Sparkle. Deck, please. Twilight handed over a deck, and Luna ran through the scanning machine. Precisely 40 cards. You're certain you do not wish to use an extra deck or side deck. This will be your last chance to have them. Twilight shook her head. I'll be fine. As you wish. Your deck is registered. Luna folded up the cards and gave them back to Twilight. Twilight saw Fluttershy in line directly behind her and moved next to Flash. She looked down at his dual disc. So, what kind of deck do you run? Flash asked. Harmony Spirits, Twilight replied. You? Gem Knights. Flash pursed a lip. Harmony Spirits, huh? That's not one I'm familiar with. Did it just come out? Oh, right. Twilight had forgotten her deck's spontaneous creation from the portal's magic. It's a very rare series. They never really released them outside from where I lived before moving here. She held up her hands and suddenly hoped that excuse would work. Flash smiled. Cool. It'll help. A lot of the students here are kind of net deckers, just recycling the same strategies as everyone else. Makes it predictable and easy to counter. Having a unique deck and playstyle will make it harder for them to do the same to you. Good. Twilight looked down over at the crowd. Does that mean Sunset Shimmer is predictable for the rest of them too? She's a champion. Surely has everyone seen her duel? She wondered if anyone would be feeling courageous enough to challenge Sunset. Would give me a chance to see her deck in action. I'm ready. First I approached the two. Though I'm not sure how good I'll do. She bit her lip and shuffled her feet. I really don't know about this, Twilight. You are ready, Fluttershy. Twilight put a hand on her shoulder. Think of it this way. Even if you don't win, you're here to help a friend and stand up for what you believe in, right? Firelight slowly smiled. Right. Thank you, Twilight.
Attention, students!
The assembled teenagers stopped talking at the sound of the loudspeaker. Twilight recognized Celestia's voice. Registration will end in 5 minutes. Any unregistered changes to your decks will be grounds for disqualification. If you made any changes to your deck since registering, see Vice Principal Luna and re-register. Students in line for registration after noon will still be allowed to complete their registration. A new flurry of murmurs came from the crowd. Twilight saw several students approach the table. Flash cleverly reached out and put a hand on Twilight's arm.
We should get out of the way.
Right. Twilight Fluttershy followed him through the doors and outside the school. Along the way, Twilight saw several students looking at her, whispering. She frowned. I have my deck going. I'm not drawing attention again, am I? She leaned closer. Flash, why is everyone staring at us? Flash softly gasped, drawing Twilight's attention. Flash looked away from him and chuckled, rubbing the back of his neck.
Well, folks sort of pay attention to me here.
Why? Twilight looked at him. Flash looked at her, and Twilight thought he seemed embarrassed.
You probably heard by now how Sunset joined the school, and she's been champion ever since.
Twilight nodded.
Well, who do you think was the champion 5 tournaments running before she got here?
Twilight's eyes widened. Oh!
It's no big deal, Flash held up his hands. I really only played for fun. It's just that in a game like this, playing for fun and waiting can go in hand.
He looked around the crowd.
A lot of them are saying that this is my chance to stop her, before her win overtakes mine.
He's a 5-time champion. Twilight rapidly considered her options. Flash is another ally I count on. He's strong and seems interested in being my friend. The other side of her mind argued that he failed to beat Sunset in the past several tournaments before. Still, he's a former champion. That means something to his skill, right? Flash? Twilight began the conversation cautiously.
Yeah?
There's something I want to ask. A tone came over the school grounds, signaling the loudspeakers again. The students looked over to the school at the sound. Celestia's voice rang through the air. Students, it is my honor to welcome you all to the 9th Annual Autumn Crown Tournament. Cheers and yells came up from the crowd. Twilight stayed silent. This year has seen the registration of more students than ever before. However, in spite of these numbers, the rules of the tournament still remain the same. For the next 4 hours, all students will be allowed to engage in free duels around the campus. At the end of these 4 hours, all duels held within that time frame will be tallied. The 16 students with the best win-loss ratios will advance to the bracket rounds. The first 8 duels will be held this evening, with the top 8 dueling to crown a former winner tomorrow. Free duels can held anywhere on the school grounds, and a duel must be agreed on by both parties. A win-loss records for the normal semester are irrelevant. Further inquiries can be directed at the registration desk. For now, students, prepare your desk and duel disc. It's time to duel! A fanfare sounded in the air, and students cheered. Twilight took a deep breath. Here we go. Harmony Spirit Honistas! Attack Spirit the Harp! The pale orange being let out a cry and ran across the field, slamming its fist into a spirit wearing a yellow robe sitting in front of a large harp. The spirit was flung back and stared at the particles as it hit the ground. Twilight looked at her dual display. The portrait for her opponent, a green-skinned girl with darker green hair, had her life point counter dropped to 0 and then flashed red. Twilight's portrait grew to fill her display. Her life point display showed her win-loss record as it updated. 3-0. 3 wins. Twilight gathered her cards from her dual disc and set them into her deck to trigger the auto shuffler. 3 wins is good, but I don't know if it's enough to win this. Twilight had attempted to find out how other duelists in the tournament were ranking, but was told she couldn't. She just had to keep dueling and winning, until she made it to the next round. Can't waste time mulling it over. I have to find another opponent. She looked around and saw a small crowd of duelists watching the duel. There has to be someone who will duel me. She darted over when a voice came to the duel from going on. I set 1 card face down and end my turn! Twilight's eyes perked up. That voice sounds familiar! She pressed her way to the front of the crowd, muttering excuses as a couple of people protested. She reached the edge and paused. Twilight's right. The one stood dueling was a girl with pale gray skin, blonde hair, and slightly crossed eyes. Her field was empty. To the left was a girl with dark purple hair, pale alabaster skin. 3 large gemstones stood in front of her, colored orange, yellow, and violet, shadow forms inside of them. Twilight took a closer look at the girl and gasped when she realized the source of the voice. Rarity! The girl stood next to her and gave her a surprised look. Her Before Twilight could continue, the other girl put a hand on her deck.
I draw!
The girl held up her hand and lifted up a card.
I normal summon Drakey C.
A squatty humanoid monster in clunking orange armor jumped to the field, holding a hand out.
When Drakey C is never summoned, I can activate its effect. It summons a level 2 or lower monster in the graveyard. I summon Tuning Rare!
Another monster, a tiny yellow machine with a curved disc on its head, materialized in the field.
Next, I activate the effect of Quillbot Hedgehog in the graveyard. Well, since I can control a tuning wire like Junk Synchron, I can retrieve Quillbot. Then, I activate the Double Warrior. In my hand, it's special summoned since I asked to survive a monster.
2 more monsters appeared. A large hedgehog with industrial bolts for quills, and a cloaked warrior holding a rifle. Twilight gasped.
She just summoned 4 monsters in 1 turn! That's amazing!
No, it ain't. Twilight jumped at her source and turned her head. A girl with blonde hair and a Stetson hat stood next to her, arms crossed. Twilight looked over and saw 3 apples under her skirt. There was no mistaking that symbol. Rares has got this in the bag. Elsa continued.
Now, for my final move!
Rarity's opponent held her hand in the air.
I tuned the level 3 Tungsten Summon with the level 10 Warrior Wear. Level 2 Quillbot Hedgehog and level 2 Double Warrior. The Synchro Summon, level 8 Jet Destroyer!
A red light and a siren blared from the girl's dual disc. She paused to look down.
Huh? Illegal move?
Got it.
No secret summons allowed in the tournament, you needs. Ooh! I never get to bring out my Pegasus voice.
Someone in the crowd called. The crowd groaned, and Twilight saw several slapped their heads and giggled.
The girl laughed nervously. My bad,
She looked back at her hand.
She
scratched her head and frowned. She just don't know what went wrong.
What happened?
You can't use any of the extra dark monsters for fusions. Secret summon ain't allowed. Applejack sighed. Slam too. That move will clinch the win.
In my turn?
The girl held up her hands and grinned sheepishly. Rarity snored.
Very well. My draw!
She drew her card and smiled.
From my hand, I summon Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus!
A portal opened behind Rarity, and a winged horse flew out of it, whinnying. Its horn glowed bright blue, and gemstones embedded on its wings did the same.
When Sapphire Pegasus is summoned, I can select any Crystal Beast monster from my hand, deck, or graveyard, and play it as a spell card. I choose from my desk Crystal Beast Ruby Carbuncle!
A pale lavender being that reminded Twilight of a cat appeared on Rarity's field, immediately frozen in place as a red crystal materialized around it.
Next, I reveal my face down, the spell called Crystal Promise. This lets me summon my Ruby Carbuncle as a monster proper.
The ruby cracked and shattered, Ruby Carbuncle leaping forward to stand beside the Pegasus.
Now that Ruby Carbuncle has been special summoned, its ability activates. Go, Ruby Light!
Rarity held her hand over her head, and the Carbuncle held up its tail, a red gem glowing bright in front of Rarity. The orange, yellow, and violet gemstones lit up and began to crack apart.
With special summon, Ruby Carbuncle lets me release all my crystal beasts from their gemstone prisons. I sold them to the field.
Rarity's opponent gasped.
Oh no.
Rarity snapped her hand down and held it over her dual disc.
I special summon Crystal Beast Topaz Tiger, Crystal Beast Amber Mammoth, and Crystal Beast Amber's Cat.
The yellow gemstones shattered, but a tiger topazes abutted in a net on a bubble, roaring. Orange gemstone broke next. A large mammoth with a round piece of amber on its forehead stomping forward. Finally, the violet gem broke, releasing a pale pink cat with a wing-colored set amethyst stem. Twilight's jaw dropped. Well, Applejack smirked. Slay, that's how you do it. Rarity pointed at her opponent's monsters one by one.
Under my Crystal Beast, attack!
Rarity's monsters ferociously roared or growled and dashed across the field. Her opponent looked away. Twilight followed suit. The now familiar sound of holograms, viciously shattering and exploding, filled her ears. Twilight looked back to see Rarity's opponent collapse to her knees.
I just don't know what went wrong, she moaned.
Rarity carefully picked her cards off her desk.
What you did wrong, darling, was underestimate my talents. Don't feel bad. It's a mistake others have made.
She set her cards back in her deck and turned to the crowd.
So, who's next?
The crowd dispersed, a couple of them muttering excuses. Twilight ignored them and ran forward.
Rarity!
Rarity focused her eyes on her.
Have we met?
Twilight flinched.
That is, no. But I know you by reputation. I'm Twilight Sparkle. Wonderful! Rarity smiled and tossed her head. It's good to know someone appreciates an opportunity. Twilight tilted her head. Huh? Rarity spun her head, put her hand on her deck. Twilight stuck her cards and fanning them out. I happen to be the founder of Rarity's Dueling School of Elegance. Our motto is that the only thing better than a victory is a victory while looking fabulous. I agree. Twilight heard Spike whisper at her feet and looked down and hushed him. Applejack sat beside Twilight. What she means is that she likes showing off all fancy in her duels, and there's Lisa too. She's trying to raise money to open up some sort of fancy dueling studio. Rarity crossed her arms and tilted her nose up. Well, not everyone appreciates the value that good aesthetics bring to a duel. Fortunately, my skills are heard where my words fell on deaf ears. What's your record? Twilight asked. 5-1, dear, Rarity sniffed. I confess I underestimated a certain ruffian who insists on dueling like a brute, but that shall be rectified when I face Rainbow Dash in the finals. Oh, hi now. Applejack stepped closer and jabbed a finger at Rarity's chest. RD is mad. If you don't want to show her, I'm going to have something to say about that. Rarity scowled and pushed Applejack's hand away. You can say all you like if you're talking with action. She stepped back and held up her duel disc. Chew, drink! Applejack smiled and raised her own duel disc. Chew, drink! You're in one peg for a bruising, huh? Stop it! Twilight ran between them and pushed her arms down. She slung her head in between them and glared. Aren't you all supposed to be friends? Friends? With that unconscious yokel? Rarity scoffed. Don't demean me. Same here. I'll never be friends with someone who thinks having their hair look nice is more important than doing being good. You know perfectly well that's not what I meant. Enough! Twilight shouted over them before Applejack could respond. She sighed. I've met Fluttershy. I know about you guys, okay? That's why I'm here. She looked between them as they paid attention. I need your help to win this tournament. Get in line, dear. There are a few hundreds of us aspiring to that. I don't have to win for myself. I just need the crown. Twilight scratched her nose. It's a long story. You probably wouldn't believe me anyway. But I need that crown. Don't care about winning much. This is just a silly game after all. But I need the physical item. She looked between them. I'm hoping your girls might listen to reason and agree to give it to me if you win the tournament. Applejack gave her a suspicious look. I thought it was some sort of dollar store they bought for the tournament. What's so fancy about some cheap crown you want that bad? Twilight laughed nervously. Like I said, I'm sorry. I find such an offer not disagreeable, Rarity shrugged. I already have a couple of tiaras more expensive and better looking at home, so that silly trinket means nothing to me. Twilight puffed her fist. Great! However, Rarity continued, I see no reason not to agree to it, since such a desire is rather curious. Twilight deflated. What'll it take to convince you? Rarity smiled. I think you know very well, darling. She raised her dual disc. Really? Twilight looked at her own disc. It can't really hurt. We can still both make it if we keep winning. Indeed. Prove yourself worthy of such an alliance, and I'll consider it. Twilight nodded and held up her dual disc. You're ready, Rarity!